Hi, this is part 3 of me building with AI as part of Bolt.new Hackathon. I'm Gaurav, and I've worked in big tech as well as startups for around 10 years as a product manager. In the last video, I went deep into my product requirements document, and then based on that, generated my first prototype using Bolt.new. In this video, I got some feedback from my friends. I'm going to make a lot of changes to the prototype, and then I can use that to start building database, backend, etc. I put the links in the description for watching part 1 and part 2. Let's quickly review the first prototype of our app before I go on doing the improvements to it. So this is the web view of our mobile app, and you can see at the bottom, this is the home page. Then we have a page for goals, for community, mindfulness, and then our profile. For the home page, on top, it just shows us a few stats, like how much time we saved, our active goals, our focus time, and then there's a link to go to the mindfulness page and to do a breathing exercise or meditation. And then you could also see updates from your friends, what goals they have been achieving, etc. On the goals page, you get an option to search for your goals. You could add goals via AI recommendation, or you could even do it manually, and it's based on the SMART framework. And you also get AI recommendation for generating tasks. And then you could review your in-progress goals, all the tasks you have completed, what are due, and you could also see overall progress here. And then finally, on the community, you can add your friends, be part of groups, and then also the paid feature where you could book sessions with coaches. For mindfulness page, you have breathing exercises, box breathing, simple, and then meditation. You could use this to do guided meditation. And finally, your gratitude journal, where you could add all the updates every day and then just see it in a list view. I wrote down all the feedback and improvements I received on my PRD document, starting with the homepage. The first thing I was told was it's missing a hook, something motivating that could bring people back to this app. So I thought maybe instead of this section where it says good morning and nothing specific, I could add a daily motivational quote as well as give a daily challenge. For example, do 10 push-ups. So I went to Gemini and I gave it the prompt that I'm building a mobile app to help users focus on their goals and track progress. Give me a list of 100 motivational quotes and some quick daily challenges like doing 10 push-ups, checking in on a friend, and I want to give a daily motivational quote and quick fun challenge to hook my users. And then I asked for a CSV file as well as a table. So here are the results. So it looks pretty good to me. For example, the quote is, secret of getting ahead is getting started. Challenge is do 10 push-ups. You have 1,000 miles, begins with a single step. Take the first step, no matter how small, towards a goal you've been procrastinating on. Do a random act of kindness. So overall, looks pretty good to me. I don't really need to use an LLM service to generate this daily. I could just have a static file and I could keep adding to it. Next, I went to Bolt and just explained how I want to show this. And then I said, follow the UX best practices to showcase it. Use the CSV file which I attached. There's also an option on Bolt to enhance your prompt. So let's try doing that as well. And it was able to implement this in one go. You could see today's inspiration and date, what we think we become, and the challenge is monitor your thoughts for 5 minutes and gently guide them towards positivity. It also added this share button. I don't think I need this, so I'll probably remove this, as well as it didn't remove the good morning one. I think I'll probably just remove these two things. Next, I asked Bolt to update the greeting section and just have a tagline, focus your energy now. And then it's followed by the daily inspiration quote, as well as a challenge which is related to the quote. And then I also removed the share button, and Bolt had no issues doing these changes, did them pretty quickly. Next, we move to the analytics section on the homepage. So I wanted to see a bit more metrics. So I came up with 6. The first one is to show me my daily average time that I'm spending on Instagram with the trend line up or down based on my monthly average. The second one is to show me time spent on goals based on the tasks I've completed. And I'm also going to assign approximate time to each of the tasks. And this would be done by AI recommendation at the time I'm going to be creating goals and tasks. The next one is show me time spent in the mindfulness section. So meditation, breathing exercise, and the journal. The next one is show me my due tasks this month. The next one, show me in progress goals over total open goals. And finally, show me my total completed tasks. I just pasted those 6 metrics and just said use the best practice in UX design and just give me these 6 instead of the current 3. And I was in discussion mode, so it came out with a plan. And then I just implemented it, and it looks pretty good. It just did it in one go. And they also gave me explanation about each of these metrics, what they mean, daily Instagram use. I could just look into details of it, so it did a pretty good job. Another thing I'm wondering is it might just get too cluttered the way it's organized right now. So, for example, if we see mindfulness section, we have 3 tabs for breathing exercises, meditation, gratitude. So I'm wondering maybe I could have separate 3 tabs for like daily inspiration, analytics, and then for just seeing updates. Bolt misunderstood the prompt that I gave it, and it just created 3 different tabs separately instead of creating them within the home tab. But there's a nice feature within Bolt to just revert the changes. So I'm just going to do that and just provide a much better or more clearer prompt. I just clarified with Bolt and said that I want those 3 tabs within the home tab. And finally, it was able to do it. Now you could see inspiration is separate, analytics is separate, and then updates are separate. So I think it's much easier to navigate now. Another cool feature that Bolt has is that you can connect your project to GitHub. So I'm just going to do that. I've already logged in, so it's connected to my GitHub account. And now I'm just going to create a new private repository. All right, changes to making Bolt will automatically be committed. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now I can easily manage the versions for this project. And later on, if I need to go back to a specific version, I can do that. So I think it's a pretty good integration that they've done. The next thing I'm going to work on improving is the goals section. So right now, the goals section, the data model that it has is very simplistic. What I mean by that is, for example, your goal is to learn Spanish fluently. You just have a bunch of tasks here: complete Duolingo, watch Spanish Netflix show, practice conversation with the tutor. These are sort of a one-time task set up in this app right now, but in reality, there are some recurring tasks, and some of these are kind of milestones. For example, for launching a side business, creating a business plan could be a milestone, designing logo, building MVP website. These are more of milestones than tasks. So I think I need to reimagine the data model. I Googled some stuff around goals and habits. I need to redesign it in a way that for recurring tasks, they're more inclined to your habits. For example, if you want to build your fitness, you might want to spend working out every day. But when you have milestones, they could be just one-off things. So I need to redesign it in a way that your goals can have milestones, but also you want to have habits that you want to get weekly or daily reminders for. So that's the next thing I'm going to work on improving. So I explained this to Bolt. I said that the goals section has a very simplistic data model, which does not take into account the recurring tasks. The current design is more about having goals and milestones, which are currently shown as tasks. And I want to update this in a way that I have goals and milestones as one-time items, where I can set deadlines for each. But I also want to have habits under each goal, which are recurring tasks that I can get a reminder on a daily or weekly basis. So I just asked, give me a few ideas on how I can implement this in a very user-friendly way. And it gave me a few different options. And then I just went back to Bolt and said, what do you recommend would be the simplest UX out of these different ideas you gave me? So it just came out with this plan. And since we are vibe coding, I'm just going to ask Bolt to implement this plan. Let's see what it does. And Bolt was able to implement this in one go again, and I'm pretty impressed with the results. As you can see now, for your goal of learning Spanish fluently, you have milestones, complete beginner course, have your first conversation with a native speaker, watch a Spanish movie without subtitles, but you also have daily habit of completing Duolingo lesson, as well as your weekly practice reminders. For running half a marathon, you have, run 10K in under 60 minutes, etc. But you also have habits, morning run, 3 days a week, etc. And then for launching a side business, now you have like building MVP, creating a plan, getting first customers as milestones. But your habits are working on your business for 1 hour daily, networking with potential customers, a weekly thing. So pretty impressed again by the results. And overall, I found this way of just brainstorming ideas with Bolt in discussion mode. And once it gives me a few options, just implementing it, it's giving me pretty good results so far. There are a few more updates that I want to make in the goal section, especially when I'm trying to create a goal. I want to make it super simple where I could just type the goal I want to focus on, and then using an LLM service, it could just populate your milestone dates, complexity, etc., which could also be used for analytics as we are completing the tasks. I want to see like roughly how much time you've contributed towards the goals. Also, I think I want to have a section where you could just easily see all the due tasks for the day or week. I'm just going to follow the same methodology and do that. Now in the community section of my app, I definitely need to have a way for people to add friends, and then you can share your updates with your friends and see their updates, and maybe even have shared goals or add their goal to your list of goals. But I'm not really sure if I want to start off with having groups in version 1 of the app. I need to think a bit more about this, but most likely I'll just skip having groups and also the option of having coaches. I think this is more of a longer term vision. Maybe I'll have something for groups, but I'm still thinking about it. And then for the mindfulness section, I think it's already looking pretty good to me. You have 3 different breathing exercises for meditation. Right now it's not working. I'll try to find some free sources that I could use, like meditation music, etc., which I can use in my app. And then the gratitude journal again is also pretty good overall. Maybe I'll see if I can slightly improve it. But yeah, I think overall it's looking pretty good. I'm having fun doing vibe coding. Next, I'm going to vibe code the entire user experience until I feel that this is a great minimum lovable product. And all of this right now is at the front end level. And the next thing I would have to do is connect it to a real database, which in this case is Supabase. And I would also need to do user authentication when they're signing up. And also for my AI feature, I would need to get an API key, which is just basically credentials. And yeah, those are the next things I'm going to work on. I did vibe coding for the last 3 days and try to improve the app. I'm going to share a few tips on what worked for me in the last 3 days and where I got stuck and all the new features I added. Here's the web view of my mobile app. I'm thinking I'm going to launch it as both a web app and a mobile app because I can see myself using it on the web as well during the day to update my goals, milestones, etc. On the homepage, you could see this inspiration tab where I update a daily quote. So for today, the quote is to live a creative life. We must lose our fear of being wrong. And the challenge related to this is try something new without the fear of failure. So I think it's a pretty good feature. I'm not even calling an LLM service on a daily basis. I just preloaded this. So working pretty well so far. It's changing every day. And then here I added some research for breathing and meditation, what benefits it has. And it says 3 minutes of mindful breathing can reduce your cortisol levels by 23% and improve your focus for up to 2 hours. And then if you click on breathing or meditation, it just takes you to this mindfulness page. And then you have the analytics section. So here you could see if you're trending upwards or downwards in terms of your time spent on Instagram. You could see your due tasks, active goals, how much mindfulness time you've been spending on the app, and how many tasks you've completed. And you can also see definition of each of these metrics. And then I also added the reminders tab that you could just go to this section and quickly see what's due for you this week. And this has 2 subsections, one for milestones, which of the milestones are either overdue or due this week, and then your weekly habits. And for the habits, you could just mark them as complete right here itself instead of going to goals, but you could even, with this arrow, go to that specific goal, which has this habits or milestones. I also added notification, which you can get on your phone. And then again, these would be for the habit reminder and if there's a milestone overdue. A lot of these features on the home tab that you almost work the first time. And I would say the first tip I have for you is to always enable this discussion mode on Bolt and just go back and forth, ask Bolt to come up with a plan before actually implementing. And then if you're happy with the plan, it gives you an option to just implement that. And I saw that in most cases, Bolt was able to implement it in one go if I had a good discussion with him. The next section I worked on is our community tab. So I moved the updates from home to this tab, because I think having everything related to community in one tab and one section gives a much better user experience. I added this option where you can manage add friends, manage your friend requests, also remove any friend. And for the groups, I made a choice that I won't be implementing the groups feature in the first version of the app, as well as being able to get professional coaching based on your goals. These are my longer term vision, and I've just put them as coming soon for now. This next section is our goal section, and this is the most important section of the app where you manage all your goals. You can add milestones to a goal. You can add habits. Habits could be daily, weekly, or a custom specific days of the week basis, and you can also set time when you want to get a reminder for it. And for milestones, you just have a due date, and then you have an overall due date for your goal. I added this feature about generating the goal with AI, or you could also do it manually here, where you set the title, description, and I added these 6 categories. Looked up on Google, these are the most popular ones, and I think covers almost everything. We could use this later on to categorize, do analytics, etc. So you can add milestones, habits, everything here manually, or you could do it via AI, which I've added in those 2 screens. So this is the part which took me a long time to make it work. And I'll share some tips that helped me fix it. I was getting a lot of errors, even though I was discussing with Bolt before actually implementing anything, and it was just throwing so many errors to me. And Bolt also has an option to just try fixing it. And I think it tried 5 different times, and every time it failed to fix it. So then I started having more conversation on, tell me how I should troubleshoot it. What should I do? How can I get some logs for you, etc. And then finally, Bolt gave me a step-by-step guide on how I could troubleshoot and help Bolt fix this issue. Long story short, just ask exactly how to troubleshoot an issue if Bolt is not able to resolve something. The other thing you could do is, like, if it has implemented a lot of things and you're getting way too many errors, revert to a previous version and then try it again. Okay, now let me show you the most exciting feature of my app. And I'm pretty stoked about this. This is the feature where you could use AI to generate your goal, milestone, habits, etc. automatically by just giving a very simple one-line prompt. I've also provided some inspiration for the user. For example, save $10,000 for a vacation to Japan, but you can type anything, just go with your vibe and just press generate complete goal. And then it's going to take a couple seconds, and there you have it. It just added the title, description. It even picked the category correctly, which is finance, and it added a due date, which is like in the next 6 months, and then added milestones, save 2,500, 5,000, 7,500, and then there are also habits like transfer $200 to savings every Friday, track your spending daily at 8 p.m. So I would say just with one line, it did a pretty amazing job. And now you save a lot of time in planning out and typing it manually. But if you want to update, you can update it whenever you want. And now I'm just going to click save, and there you have it. You have your entire goal and milestones and habits and your daily reminders. I'm pretty stoked about this feature. I'm proud of this feature. It looks amazing. You just write one line and you get this entire thing parsed correctly. So this is the goals feature I have. Then I have the mindfulness section where I just have some breathing exercises for you. I have meditation and gratitude journal. So it didn't change much here. And then the final one is my profile page. So now you have an option to edit this, add your image, change your password. You can also change your notification settings, like do you need the milestone reminder or not, habit reminder, goal deadlines, your motivation, do you need that or not? So all of these settings are available, as well as for help and support. You have a FAQ section here, and also be adding our website and our email. You could just send me feedback or talk to me about any issue. This is already a very loaded application, and I'm very impressed what I've been able to build using Bolt so far, but I think it still needs a little bit of touch up, a bit of makeup before I could deploy this. And also the next step that I'm going to share in my next video is how I'll be doing my integration with Supabase and also payment option for the paid users, and then I can deploy it to the App Store as well as a web application. So see you in the next one. Keep building.